All right, welcome to tonight's photojournalism night. It's the second one of the year. Before we get started with that, we do have some announcements. There will be some upcoming competitions. September 24th, next week, we have our first print competition of the year, and it will be nature and pictorial. On October 1st, we have our first bee competition. That will also be a print competition. And again, just as a reminder, bee competitions are designed for pretty much students and people that are starting out in photography. And if you join bee competition, you would not compete in the regular competitions, and vice versa. If you're in regular competitions, you would not be in the bee competitions. On October 8th, we have a people competition, that is projection. And the deadline for entering that is September 29th. With the print competitions, the deadline is about 7:25 the night of the competition. All right, some other announcements. Upcoming field trips on September 24th and 25th. We were invited to photograph a Belgian draft horse show, but they did ask that we limit it to 20 photographers per day. And so we've limited that to members only. If you're interested in that, see the calendar for more details and how to sign up for that. I don't know if there's any space left on it or not, for sure. But September 24th is a Friday and September 25th is a Saturday. Some other items of interest on September 18th and also October 18th will be Buckin, Ohio. And that's a rodeo, great opportunity to get some great action shots. And then September 18th and 19th, there's a Civil War reenactment in Zor, Ohio, which is south of Canton. And September 18th and 19th also, there's a balloon A-fair in Ravenna, Ohio. Again, a lot of us are familiar with the Chagrin Balloon Fest, where you can get really up close to the balloons. I don't think you can do that with this one, but it still would be a good opportunity to get some great shots. You can watch this and all Friday evening meetings at your convenience on the CPS YouTube channel. There is a link on the CPS website homepage, or you can open YouTube and search for Cleve Photographic. And pretty much all of our meetings are put out on YouTube, except when we have guest speakers that insist we do members only. And those will be recorded and made available to members down the road. You can subscribe to the channel and choose to be notified whenever a new video is posted. So again, welcome. This is our second photojournalism night for the 2021-2022 year. Again, photojournalism isn't a competition. It's an opportunity to display your photographs and talk about them. The idea with photojournalism is the photos are supposed to tell a story on their own, but we want you to talk about your photographs if you can. Tonight we do have 35 images, so it's not a large number of images, so we probably won't be here too long, but we do have 35 images, so let's get started. Angelina? Yep, if you'd come up here, and camera's not on, so all you need to do is use the microphone. You can either you can comment on your own, or you can read what you're... Okay.
Thank you. All right. This first photo is a picture taken in the the Andean Amazon region of Bolivia. Here we see a man, happens to be my husband. Oh, I'm sorry. Can everyone hear me? Testing, testing. All right. All right. So here in this picture, we see my husband holding palm hearts. We're actually, we're hiking through the Amazon and we're hungry, and the easiest food to find there is palm hearts. So I guess I should just read what I wrote. Palm hearts are a common and readily available food source in the Amazon rainforest. Here we see a man preparing the palm hearts for consumption. After having chopped off the top few feet of a young palm tree, he uses a machete to carefully slice off the inedible outer bark, exposing the tender, lily white heart of the palm. So you can see the inside is just that nice pale color, and we're just stripping off the outer bark to access the delicious palm heart inside. And in this next photograph, these are actual palm hearts that have already had the outer bark stripped off of them and are pretty much ready to use. Now that the tender young shoots of the palm tree have been stripped, they are ready to be made into a dish. Palm hearts may be eaten raw or lightly cooked, often incorporated into a dish with other native foods. But for the backpacking gringo, they are a delicious and welcome snack by themselves straight out of the tree. Notice the different textures shown on these palm hearts. The thick end is almost too tough to eat, and the narrow end is made up of thin, very soft, strap like tissues that are the new leaves of the palm tree starting to form at the terminal end. And those string like ends are very easy to eat. You eat them raw and they're delicious. Uh, this one I call Masters of Disguise. So imagine walking down a dirt road in the rainforest. You see what looks like animal feces in the path, so you make sure to step around it. After a few more steps, you notice your shoe is untied, and while you stoop to tie it, something moves on the path. Did that poo just move? You think to yourself. Then it moves again, and it starts crawling across the path. But a closer look reveals that it is not feces, but it's actually a cluster of butterfly larvae crawling in unison with a most clever disguise. These caterpillars have learned to camouflage themselves as something that nothing in the jungle would be interested in, and they have learned to remain perfectly still at the slightest vibration, such as footfalls on a dirt road. Indeed, the most interesting pseudo poo I have ever laid eyes on. This one I call Niños Indígenas. And these are, here we see two indigenous children in the remote village of Santa Cruz de Vallameno in the Andean Amazonian region of Bolivia's Apolo department. The young girl is playing a harmonica that I had given her. Notice their feet. Native also to this region are scorpions, tarantulas, an assortment of venomous snakes, all manner of stinging and biting insects, not to mention grasses that slice the skin, seed pods that pierce, and thorns as long as your finger. If children in the safe, non threatening, docile forests of Northeast Ohio were seen without footwear, surely someone would call the other CPS on their neglectful parents. Yet, most children in the Amazon and wildernesses around the world don't get the privilege of wearing shoes until they have reached the age that their feet stop growing. Kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Rockin' on the River is a concert venue that takes place up in Lorraine during the summer months. And I happened to be out of town when AC/DC was playing in May, but ironically, it was canceled due to thunderstorms. If you're familiar with AC/DC, you see the irony there. And they pushed it back till September, and I made a point of going because who doesn't like AC/DC? Anyway, I call this one High Voltage, and an extreme AC/DC tribute band played the last night of Lorraine's Rockin' on the River. Freddie DeMarco dressed and acted the part of original AC/DC's lead guitarist Angus Young. And this is just one more shot of Angus Young. Um, they play like a 2-hour set. I didn't hear well for 12 hours afterwards, but it was worth every minute of it. The opening act was a Pat Benatar tribute band. That was also very good. I had never been to one of the Rockin' on the Rivers before. I've been wanting to go all summer, but COVID kind of made me a little reluctant to go into crowds. But as I said, it was AC/DC. Come on. Bob calls this the border is closed. The longest undefended border in the world, 5,525 miles, is closed. This location is called a remote entry point. However, thousands crossed each day before the pandemic. Many were visitors to Glacier National Park who would venture into Canada, and many Canadians owned summer homes in the U.S. and traveled to them weekly. This site has been closed for 18 months and literally abandoned. The U.S. Border Patrol has also abandoned their U.S. facilities. Weeds and Mother Nature have taken over. Is Bonnie here? Bonnie titled this one Catching Ping Pong Balls. In Conway, South Carolina, kids gather to catch ping pong balls instead of snowflakes in November. The city pumps out hundreds of balls from a special machine. The expressions on the kids' faces are wonderful. The little boy in blue was a bit too short to catch any, but he seemed a little wary. Maybe he was afraid of being trampled in the mad rush. This is titled Great Ohio Bike Adventure. About 2,000 bicyclists participate in a 250-mile bike ride camping trip around Ohio in June. Your luggage is driven to the next stop, and you locate it by finding the semi with the same color tag as your luggage. Sometimes it's quite a challenge to find your luggage because about 500 other people have their luggage on the same semi. When the semis arrive at the destination, 2 or 3 men stand in the back of the semi and throw out the luggage as the semi moves forward slowly. It's quite a sight. This is called Sunshine Skyway Bridge, Tampa, Florida. The Sunshine Skyway Bridge is impressive during the day, but at night, the lighting creates a more majestic sight. I shot several images from the car rolling along at 65 miles per hour with my cell phone, and this was the best one. This is titled Mule Train Descending to the Floor of the Grand Canyon. This mule train was taking a load of supplies to the Phantom Hotel at the bottom of the Grand Canyon along the Colorado River. There were many switchbacks on that trail, and the mules are the most sure-footed animals to navigate the snow-covered trails. There are only 3 ways to reach Phantom Ranch: hiking, riding a mule, or by rafting in the Colorado River. This is titled Sheep Shearing Timed Contest. At the Maryland Wool and Fiber Festival, I watched a timed sheep shearing contest among teenage boys. The object was to shear the sheep without cutting the skin, but making sure the entire hide was in one piece. The average time was between 2 and 3 minutes. It was truly amazing to watch as the young boys proceeded in a very methodical manner. I was glad for a warm day because I can just imagine the sheep feeling cold without their fur coats. Dave called this one Special Olympics. The mission of the Special Olympics is to provide sports training and athletic competition for children and adults with disabilities. The Medina Special Olympics, held in June, include a bocce ball tournament. This is titled Determination. The Special Olympics gives the competitors the opportunity to demonstrate courage and determination. This is called The Joy of Victory. Some competitors experience the agony of defeat, and others experience the joy of victory. In the end, it is all great fun for everyone. This is American Indian Dance. The Great Mohican Powwow will be held September 17th and 19th in Loudonville. Dance has always been an important part of life for the American Indian. The powwow will feature 3 days of dance demonstration and competition. This is called Weaver. The powwow features American Indian crafts. Many of them will be for sale. Elder here. This is called Sick Cardinal. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Wildlife has received multiple calls of dead and sick birds across central North Ohio. Gary Connor, district supervisor, said, "We are assuming that it's probably viral, but we don't know for a fact. Right now, there is no treatment available for these sick birds." Is Fran here? This is called Free Falling. The 2021 Cleveland Air Show, the United States Army parachuters free falling before they open up their parachutes. Photo was taken on top of the 9th Street RTA overpass garage in Cleveland. This is called Thunderbirds over First Energy Stadium. The Thunderbirds flew over First Energy Stadium during the 2021 Cleveland Air Show. My position was over the RTA's 9th Street and Lakeside parking garage. I sure hope it brings the Cleveland Browns football team some luck this year. This is titled Dancing Colors on Chairs. The Harbortown Fine Arts Center in Vermillion, Ohio, has been in existence since the early 1860s. Over the years, the building has been used as a town hall, a political hall, and theater, but fell to deterioration because of non-use and low funds. The town of Vermillion has been working on its renovation, returning plays, ballet, and dance recitals once again. The Fine Arts Center director said, "All the chairs, woodwork, and trapdoors are original, and 14 original handcrafted light fixtures were discovered approximately 10 years ago in the floorboards, and they are restoring each piece to its original glory. In the peaks of the building, there are circular windows that each contain pie-shaped stained glass. On sunny days, the sun dances away into the room, filling it with colorful, patriotic shadows like waves over the chairs." This is called Dressed for the Parade. This father works for the prominent and famous bakeries Prestes. They are also relegated to the original family, related to the original family. He proudly dressed his children in Italian cultural clothes, and they marched in the parade at the 2021 annual Feast of the Assumption of Mary in Little Italy on August 15th. The little ones were not too sure about all the people staring at them and taking their pictures. This is called Rare White Tiger. Nemacolin Woodlands Resort, located in Farmington, PA, was created by Joseph Hardy, former owner of the 84 Lumber Company. Now in his daughter's hands, Mr. Hardy loved animals and created a sanctuary for rare, going extinct, or animals with special needs. The animals come from all over the world. The caretakers feed the lions for 5 out of 7 days each week. They do not feed them for 1.5 days per week and rotate that day so that the animals do not lose their instincts to hunt for food. The lions are separated from the guests by 2 separate fences. Is Gary here? This is titled Great Grandpa Stockman. Great Grandpa Stockman, at age 88, is still hunting the elusive trout. This is South Congress Collage. Much like a number of neighborhoods in Cleveland, Ohio City, Tremont, Waterloo Art District, etc., South Congress has morphed into a high-price area to live. Gone are the affordable housing, starving artists, hip musicians, sex workers, and the flavor of South Congress life with them. Now it is a haven for the rich, famous, and tourists. Marge here. This is Buckin, Ohio. Buckin, Ohio is a rodeo held during the summer at a family cow ranch in Burbank, Ohio. It presents family Western entertainment with pro bull riding, contests for adults and children, and barrel racing. The goal of bull riding is to stay on the bull for 8 seconds. The rider rides with one hand and cannot touch the bull with the other hand. Not quite 6 seconds, this is called. Mutton busting is one of the most fun sports to watch at Buckin, Ohio. Children ages 5 to 9 can compete with a 65-pound weight limit. The children are outfitted with protective vests, helmets, and goggles. The goal is to ride for 6 seconds. The sheep seem to handle it amiably. This is titled Stick Horse Cowboys. Another popular sport at Buckin, Ohio is stick horse riding. The riders are divided into 2 groups by age. The goal is to ride the horse around a barrel and to be the first to return to the start. Mayhem usually ensues, but the participants are very competitive. This is called Modern Day Cowboy. Cowboys are in the arena to collect the bulls and herd them back to the pens. Their horses are amazingly responsive, can turn on a dime, and are steady and straight when the rider is roping. This is titled Trick Rider 2. Trick riding is the act of performing stunts while riding a horse, such as a rider standing upright on the back of a galloping horse, using a specially designed saddle with a reinforced steel horn, and specialized loops for hands and feet. The horse is likewise galloping free. The rider puts great trust in her horse.
Thanks, Bill. I was fortunate enough a few summers ago to spend some time in Egypt, but what I wanted to do is spend some time in a little town there. So we were in a small town between Aswan and Luxor and spent a few days there too. And so these are just 5 from around the town. So it's a different way of life. And in this case, when you go to the meat markets there, it looks to you, if you're an American, very unsanitary. The meat is hanging all over. There are no gloves. People just handle it any which way. However, no one gets sick. In other words, we think of this as unsanitary, but they know how to take care of things. They know what needs to be done. And in a sense, you eat this and you don't get sick either. So it is much more sanitary than it looks. It isn't just random. But in the little tiny towns like this, the camels and whatnot are just butchered and hung up and whatnot, and usually people get them. It's usually done on one day, and people go and buy the fresh meat at that time. So this was just one of the local butchers on the street. This town was also the center of a giant animal market. And once every, I think it was 2 weeks, not once a week, once every 2 weeks, people from about the area of Northeast Ohio, 50, 60 miles, would come and bring their animals to sell. And people would come from all over to buy and sell animals. Now, this one young man too, he was bringing this to sell. This was a very big deal for the family. This was their best animal. I'm not sure what exact type it is too, but they were hoping to get a very good price for this. And the animal is roped down. They're on the back of a pickup truck and they're about to unload the animal too. And I just thought it was a nice shot of him over that. The animal market is just, it's not like a flea market where there are stalls. There's no stalls here. There's no arrangements. There's no cow section and a goat section and a chicken section. It is just humanity. It's just all humanity and animals, just every which way. And you just make your way through this. And this goes on for acres and acres. you make your way through to you see animals that you like and whatnot, and people are always showing you, as opposed to on the street corner here, people always asking you for money. People always trying to sell you animals there, and this kid was trying very hard to sell. And I'm telling you, I was tempted, but did not buy that too. But a very interesting area, and a tremendous amount of commerce goes there. You know, we look at it. We look at the way we do commerce here. There's no, MasterCard there or whatnot, or, everything is done locally in cash. And surprisingly, this has been going on for 800-900 years. And what looks like confusion to you is actually very, very well organized to them. And this is just a way of life. And these kids had just I think they bought this. That's right, because I was watching them load it onto the truck, which is another story entirely. These aren't like you get an Amazon package and you toss it in the back of your car. When you buy your animal like that too, and there's no handicap ramp either for that as well, you got to get it out of there as well. There's no shipping. And these kids helped load the animal on, which was, again, a trip. And they were on their way out and very happy. And this is as they were pulling out. And in the area around that time, the temperature was above 100 every day. And we would go down to the Nile like this, just walk down. And what was amazing is a lot of the men there too do the daily prayers. You'll see them doing that. I think this was the afternoon prayer. They'll do it at the water's edge, actually in the water to stay cool. So once you're aware of that, you'll see this as a very common sight in the shade up and down the Nile around the villages after the call to prayer. People will usually stop. The call to prayer is not usually done it can be done in the mosque, but usually wherever you are, you just prostrate yourself at that, that place and pray. So along the Nile, it's a very, very common sight in the small villages. I think that's it.
Okay, well, again, thank you to everyone for participating. Ideally, when you submit images, we would like you to be here at the club and talk about the images kind of spontaneously. So in the future, if you feel comfortable enough coming to the clubhouse, that would be the best way to do it. Otherwise, we'll be forced to continue just to read comments that you have submitted. And sometimes that the story doesn't come across quite as well as you just, describing it yourself. Again, for those that may not be familiar, this is not a competition tonight. There's no judging tonight, but at the end of the year, you will be able to submit 5 photographs. Is that what it usually is? 3 photographs? Okay. I thought with photojournalism it was more. Okay. So at the end of the year, you can take 3 of the photos that you had submitted during the year and enter them in the year-end competition for photojournalism. So, keep that in mind as you submit photos, what got good response or what you think would do well in the year-end competition. So again, if you do have feedback to send us, info@clevelandphoto.org. Again, with small number of entries tonight, kind of a quick meeting, but hopefully we'll get more in the future and they'll go on a little bit longer. So again, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.